Hi everybody. So I'm going to review how to organize your paper at the same time that you will complete the paper and some tips on the different content here. So as you see these main headings here, nursing philosophy, standards, and as I scroll down there's other headings. Okay, those are all level 1 headings. Those are centered headings. When you get to a section, for example, the professional nursing role, you'll see that there's different headings, questions within that question. Each of these, there's 4 of them for the role. Those will be 4 level 2 headings. Okay? And so that's how you're going to organize the questions when there's more than one question within that heading. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the top and review each section as we go. All right, so I'll keep going. The nursing philosophy, basically in one paragraph, answer these questions. Keep in mind, 200 words, and then take a look at the point spread. So it's 15 points, this question, okay? And you'll use that 15 as you gauge the amount you need to write according to other sections of the paper. This first question is about the ANA standards practices 1 through 6, standards of practice. So you're going to choose 2 of the standards, any 2 that you want, and discuss what has changed over the last period of time, 50 years. So for example, how do you teach differently now compared to how you taught back in the 1950s or 60s, right? So choose 2 of the standards that you can talk about as changing. Now, separate each of the standards into 2 paragraphs. You can do paragraphs. You can do 2, you can't do 2 level 2 headings. So what I would suggest is level 2 headings for each of these 3 questions. Okay? Might be best just to do 2 paragraphs for this content. Okay? So this ANA section will have 3 level 2 headings. The second item for this section is standards of performance 7 through 16. Basically, choose 2 of them and how they relate to your philosophy that you wrote above. Okay? Remember, 2 separate paragraphs and just write your thoughts about those standards and why they're meaningful to you. This third one is to choose one of the ANA's different platforms or services that they offer nurses. Choose one of them, write about it, discuss how it aligns with the values align with your philosophy. Okay, so looking at the point spread is 25 points, so you'll split that up. There isn't any individual point spread for each item, so you would just split that up 3 ways. Okay, so about 8.5 points or so for each one. So if you think about, the philosophy is worth 15 points, and each of these sections is worth about 8. So maybe about half of the amount, maybe a little bit more. So you'll just gauge that as you write your entire paper, how much you can fit in. Okay? Going to the next section is your professional development plan. There'll be 2 different sections here. A lot of times students will put this in just 1 paragraph. A goal is basically a sentence or 2. And then 3 actions that you will take to accomplish that goal. Okay? So these are 3 actions. 1 education piece. So find a few different things that you can do to actually reach that goal. And remember that not everybody is planning to go back. I don't expect everybody to go back for another degree, but maybe a certification or something. You can be the best nurse you can be in what you're doing now. And if you're looking for a job, you can write what your goal is. If you have questions about that, since if you don't know what you want to do, just let me know. Professional nursing role. You're going to choose a role. Could be something you want to do. It could just be something you're interested in. So, like I said earlier, there's or maybe I didn't say it earlier. Anyway, there are 4 different headings in this section, okay? So the nursing role, you're going to define the role and the skills, okay? Defining the skills in one long paragraph it's a little sticky. It's not easy to really follow that easily. A lot of times the reader, me, or anybody that would read your work, has to know which number you're at. Is it number 2 or 4? Do you have to count them? So, usually, I see a variety of ways this content is shared. When you're writing about the skills, you can bullet point them. You're going to list them, but you're also going to describe them. And keep in mind, these skills are about the role, and you're going to explain them according to the role. The example here is about communication. So you want skills or behaviors that are like communication or critical thinking, those types of nursing skills, and describe how, say, a nurse educator would communicate. Just like me, I'm communicating via a video, so that way you can understand. Compared to any other role, you want to describe it, okay? It wouldn't be, if it was, say, a med-surg nurse, you wouldn't write changing dressings. It has to be a behavior or an interpersonal skill. And then this section, strengths and weaknesses, that's another level 2 heading. Choose 2 of the skills that you are, have some confidence with, some strengths, and then 1 that's a weakness. Now here, keep in mind that the strengths, sorry to go back and forth, each strength is worth 4 points for a total of 8 points. And the weakness is just 2 points. So you can tell right away that weakness, that can just be a sentence or 2. You don't have to write a paragraph, because then you write too much there, you're not going to have enough to really explain other areas that are worth more points. ANA standards of performance. Which 2 standards apply to that role? So write about it. How does it apply and why? Okay, sometimes giving an example will help me see that connection. And this I put here to try to help students understand that these 3 role sections are all worth the same 10 points, same amount of points. So they should all be similar length, depth, okay? Then compared to the reflection of the role, that's just worth 5 points. So less, a little bit less, okay? And when you write about this, it's what do you think about the role? How does it fit in with your philosophy or maybe your career goal, or just what are you thinking about it? Did anything surprise you? And then the last section of the paper, your last level 1, is reflection of the role, of the professional standards. And so basically just answer this one question. It's worth just 5 points. So this section would be similar to this reflection of the role. They're both worth the same amount of points. And I highly suggest downloading and reviewing the sample APA paper located in the Writing Center. Look up what all the requirements are of an APA paper. Include them in your paper. And as you're working on your citations and your references, look at the examples in the back of the book, the back of the paper. You're going to see all these correct examples of websites, journals, textbooks. So just copy it. That is the absolute best way to learn. Keep your manual next to you. If you're capitalizing, do you capitalize? Do you not? Do I use a semicolon? Sending your work to the writing tutor is in your best interest. Do that by Wednesday at 5 o'clock. If not, you're not going to get it back in time for the due date on Sunday. These are some miscellaneous requirements of the paper. There's an APA checklist that's located in the Writing Center. So you're going to want to download that and just copy it and paste it into the end of the paper. Make sure you put your check marks in there. Don't just attach it without the check marks, and use those guidelines in there to help you format your paper. Keep track of the page count and the philosophy count, citation expectations, And this is another helpful tip about using the weight of the items. So I hope this has been helpful, and I'm here if you have any questions. Okay.